Hi, welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free to Be. Today I'm talking to Elena Danaan. She was abducted by aliens as a child and was rescued by another alien group. And today we're going to be talking about her abduction, about who she is being in the world now and how she still communicates with the benevolent E.T.s and what's playing out on the Earth realm right now and what to look forward to in the near future. So I'm really excited to share this conversation with all of you. And be sure to listen through to the end because so much of the best stuff in these conversations happen throughout the entire conversation and not just in the first 10 minutes or so. This is a great conversation and some of what we have to say is really, really important toward the end. Before I bring her on to share this conversation we had earlier, this time I actually recorded the conversation and now I'm patching on my comments in the front because of the way time set up this time. Before I bring in the conversation that I had with her, I want to share with all of you about this Nasara Jasara we've been talking about for a while. And this is one thing I really, really want to impart upon all of you. It will occur in our reality when enough of us raise our vibration up to be able to receive it. So we have to change our own frequency and our own vibration about money and our deservedness and our worth and our beliefs about not only prosperity, but also about our own worth and about the human experience. The money is coded at a 5D frequency. So if you want that money to come into your life, you have to do the work to raise your frequency up to receive it. One of the ways to do that is to raise your frequency about yourself and your beliefs about the world around you, and also raise your frequency about money itself. If you want assistance with this, I have 2 programs that are available for you. One of those is called Cure Your Money Disease. That can be found on the Ascended Master Store, and I will leave that link in the description below. The other one is a much bigger program, and this actually can help to transmute a lot of the other things happening in your life regarding your life in general, not just about money, because nothing is ever just one thing. I have another program called 6D Money Tree. Both of these programs are what I call quantum prosperity programs. It's all about teaching you how to change your own inner resonance so that you're able to receive that money that's out there wanting to make manifest in our lives. We receive it when enough of us raise our vibration up to receive it. So those are 2 programs I think you might find really helpful in raising your own prosperity frequency in order to attract what you seek into your life. Now, let me bring in my wonderful, beautiful guest, Elena Danaan. Hi, Elena. It is so nice to finally meet you after seeing you on various other shows over the last year. And thank you so much for being here today and speaking to my audience. I know they are going to love you.
Thank you, Victoria, for having me. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our conversation. So I'm kind of new to the whole idea of, well, obviously I'm not new to the idea of ET abductions because people have been talking about that for forever. But I've never actually had a conversation with someone who has been abducted and who has their abduction memories as concrete as you do, and then still communicates with ETs as clearly as you do. So I'm really excited to have you here. I have the most interesting guests. I've had angelic walk-ins, I've had hybrids, and now I get to have you on here and introduce you to my audience. So tell us about your abduction experience, what that was, and then how you got to be where you are today. And then I'd love to talk about current events and what your connection to the ETs are telling you about what's happening now and in the near future.
Yes, thank you. Well, I was abducted by small grays, regressive, malevolent aliens when I was 9 years old. And, it was going into the process. It was part of the factory size, a process of hybridization programs from the regressive grays. Well, they started to mess up with me, to do bad things to my little body. And in the process, as I was going through this horrible thing, I was rescued. This was interrupted by a crew of Nordic-looking beings in spacesuit, who beamed on board this gray ship. And they killed the Greys, they liberated me, and they took me with them on their ship. They beamed me back on their ship. This crew is one of the many crews who does rescue, has been doing rescues from abductees since a long time. So I was one of the lucky ones who was rescued. And they brought me on board this scout ship. And this crew was composed of Nordic-looking beings, but from different origins. Two of them were from the Pleiades. One was from Epsilon Eridani system, and one was from Sirius B. So it was a compound of different origin beings, but you can spot the differences. You can really spot. You could tell these ones are not the same race as these ones. It was interesting. I saw it straight away. Well, they took care of me. They healed me, and I had been put an implant in my head that by the Greys, which was supposed to be like a tracker, like a sat-nav. They do that to all the abductees. Everyone who has been abducted has such a tracker. It's like a monitor your health and tracks you wherever you go. People on Earth do that to animals, wild animals. To follow the herds, or they do the same with humans. And so this tracker needs to be removed. Where it was a bit tricky to remove it. So to go fast, they had this idea to fry it, destroy it, and recalibrate it to the higher frequencies of the structure they are part of, the Galactic Federation of Worlds. So I was recalibrated on these higher frequencies, which are unhackable. Well, they would be hackable by same level frequency or higher. And when you arrive in fifth density frequency, you don't have any more these Greys or reptilians, so you're safe. So that was the thing. So these benevolent ETs have been looking after me all my life to this day. But the night of this abduction and rescue was voluntarily, hidden from my memory. They took the memory and they put it somewhere else in my brain. They rerouted it, that I can't access it. So I always knew something had happened to me, but I didn't know what. Couldn't access the memory because it was traumatic. And arrived at the age, it was in 2018. It was 3 years ago. 4 years ago. Wow. They decided to give me back this memory. And they activated me. They awakened me. They activated my process of dark night of the soul, that I remember everything and who I am. And that I was one of them. And that was a whole revelation. And they've been keeping in contact with me since, because this implant I have somewhere in my body, they use it as I'd say walkie-talkie. It's a technology, and that's how I'm still in contact with them to this day.
So you didn't remember your abduction at all until 2018, and that was what the dark night of the soul, as you called it, was that. And now I refer to those as holy shift moments. That's kind of my new term for them. So it took you into a really dark place when you started to remember that?
Yes. How it happened in 2018, I was taken on board a ship, and it's a very famous UFO incident in Ireland where I'm living. It's called the Shannon Incident. The Shannon Incident, people can look it up. That night I was on board one of the ships. Planes, pilots have been, recorded talking about seeing these flying saucers, etc. I was on board one of them. And they they told me that they were back because incredible events, very positive events were about to happen for Earth. It was now time that I remember everything. So they said, we are going to give you back your memory through dreams, slowly, that it's not really traumatizing. Well, that was traumatizing. So I decided to do hypnosis to just get it one go. I'm very adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, but not straight away. I did this hypnosis session a year after, in December 2019, after my whole process of Dark Night of the Soul and Awakening was completed. That's when I got all my memory back from this night of the abduction. But the the Dark Night of the Soul, it's a reset. You switch off, and it looks like a burnout. You think you have a burnout. It's very scary. You don't know what's happening to you. Everything you believed until now, it's just upside down. You wonder about everything. You question everything you believed until now. Everything you were certain of, it's just, challenged again. And you don't know what to believe, what to think. You're just naked in the dark at every level. But you need that to reboot and remember who you are. And as if you embrace it, it will be less painful and you will go through it faster. And the memories of who you are will come back. And that is very important, that you let it go and you embrace it and you trust the process. Embrace it. But it took me a year. It took me a year. That was, some people it's a week. Some people it's 3 years. It depends. It's a personal process. It arrives when you are ready and nothing can stop it.
Right. Yeah, and those moments are necessary to bring us, as you said, bring us home to the truth of who we are. And it's really scary. I mean, I remember back when I had my holy shift again, as I called it. It wasn't anything like yours, but it was challenging everything I had ever believed about everything. And that's really scary for people because they've been living in this comfort zone of what they have believed their entire life. And then suddenly they're having to question all of it. And there are a lot of people who are partly awake, but there are a lot of their beliefs they're still not willing to take a look at because it's too scary to challenge what they've always believed.
Yes.
And yet in order to get to the truth of who we really are, we have to be willing to do that. And that's difficult. And I think that's why it takes longer for some people than other people. I mean, for some people, it doesn't take as long because it's like, okay, got it. I have to take a look at all of my beliefs. And then you just start peeling off all the layers of everything and getting to the root of all of it. Or we can drag it out. But the longer we drag the process out, the more we suffer in the process. So it's better just to get it done.
Yes. Yes, it's scary. And there's a part of healing that you need to go through. You need to face your own darkness. You need to face your own traumas. And, well, we are humans. We make mistakes. Sometimes we may just be angry at someone or hate somebody or, have low thoughts about someone. Well, we need to go through our traumas to see how we do react like this. It's not regarding to the person. The person is just there to role play our own trauma. We need to go through that and be honest with ourselves. Honesty, it's needed as well.
Well, and I think that's what's really difficult for people to understand is that it's always about us.
Yes.
It's so that dark night of the soul, if you will, and then the shadow work that goes with it. And people ask me what shadow work is, and this is exactly what you're talking about, which is a willingness to sit and say, oh, this is my stuff.
Yeah.
It actually isn't what anybody else is doing. It's them being who they are and the stuff that's inside of us being triggered up. And it's being triggered up so that we take a look at it so that we can resolve it. It's never
Yes.
about anybody else.
Absolutely. When you're at peace with yourself, you stop trying to solve your traumas using interaction with other people. So solve them outside, because you've done the inside work. So if someone comes to you and maybe is angry, or, it's not going to resonate with you because there's no resonance anymore, and
Right.
you just don't care and you're at peace. It's sometimes you think, oh, all the same people are always coming up into my life with the same patterns, like abuse, for instance. That's a good one, no? Why I'm meeting always the same people? Because you call for it. It's quantum resonance. When you have a trauma, a problem within you, you're going it generates a certain frequency, okay, and in your energy field, and other people who have the same issue will resonate with you, and you will mutually help each other to try to sort out this same issue, But if you treat it first within yourself, the world is at peace,
Right. Yeah. And I think it takes a while for people to really grasp that.
Yeah.
That peace begins with me, inside me, and that it is no one else's responsibility to make me happy.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
And there are so many people out there who think that person needs to change in order for me to be happy. These circumstances need to change in order for me to be happy. That person is the cause of my suffering. I'm a victim of my circumstances. So when we really get that it has nothing to do with anybody else, and it has nothing to do with the circumstances around us, that who we are resonating at actually creates our circumstances and either draws people into our life who are resonating at that higher vibration, or pushes people away because they can't be in our light in that sense, right? Because they're not on that same resonance. So we have to watch what it is we're putting out, because that's what magnetizes that same frequency back to us. And I think people really need to grasp that.
Yes.
What are we attracting? What are we magnetizing to us? And it's because it's about what we're putting out.
Yes, when we are told we are co-creating this reality, we really do. If we manifest peace, because peace always comes from within outwards, it radiates from you. If we manifest this peace, we change the world, If we manifest anger because we are in pain, we are going to create dissonance, and so, yeah, the secret is always within. Simple, but it's so true,
Always. Now, is that something that you've always known, or is that something that you started to learn after your awakening experience?
I fully realized it after my awakening experience. Well, in the process, I half knew it. I started to grasp the idea when I lived for 8 years in Egypt, in a community where I was an archaeologist, still am, but at the time I was working in Egypt, and we were working in a mission enclosed behind walls with militaries, outside. And we were a bunch of 20 people, French researchers and archaeologists, living 9 months together in this little enclosure, and there you learn so much about human relationships, about yourself. Because when you are in your country, when you don't get on with someone, you just have the possibility to just not see this person, just cut contact. But when you're living with them, you have no choice than to face it and to treat the problem with the person. And then you may learn that it's 50-50. There is never someone bad attacking someone nice. it's always two people with wounds, and each pain resonates with each other, and it's going to create a conflict, a role play, as I say.
Right.
And when you learn how to deal, why am I angry with this person? It's because blah, blah, blah in me. Then it's going to sort out the situation, because the person will not respond anymore, and a conversation can start, and it's sorted by peace. So it taught me a lot. Face always the problems. Never go away, because it will come back to you in another way,
Yeah, I love that. I love how you point out that it's always the woundedness in both people. It's never about just one person. And I know people who in the spiritual community who are still stuck in this blaming other people for the circumstances that they're in, and not realizing they are actually stuck in this victimization mode, and then also not realizing that it's that other person's wounds that are triggering our own wounds, and that it's really about first understanding, okay, what wounds in me are asking for my attention so that I can, and so I do see a lot of people who think they are more, I don't want to be judgmental, more spiritually advanced than they are, because they're still projecting a lot of their own woundedness out to other people and expecting other people to act a certain way. And that one of the things I really, really learned about a year ago, I finally understood what Buddha meant when he said that suffering is in, but it was misquoted. He said suffering is in desire, but I don't think that's what he said. I think what he said is suffering is in attachments, because desire, as we know, creates reality. But the attachments, when we're attached to the way we think things have to be, or we're attached to the way we think other people need to act, that's creating our own suffering.
Yes, I would resonate with that too. Yes.
Yeah, I finally grasped that. I was like, oh, got it. Because I was attached to my children and expecting them to act a certain way, and then finally understood what a therapist friend of mine said years ago, that your children are not responsible for your happiness. And I knew that on an intellectual level, but I didn't really know that on a deep resonance until my children went to live with their dad, and it like sucked the life out of me. And then I realized the reason it hurt so much is because I was attached to who I thought they needed to be, and I was too attached to them. Not the same as having an emotional connection with them, which is very different, to just have this beautiful emotional connection with my children and with other people, but to be overly attached to them, that my happiness was determined by whether they were here with me or not. I mean, fortunately, I recognized it, and I moved through that suffering really quick. Once I was like, oh, I know what this is. I called out all my reinforcements and said, I don't want to suffer any longer than I have to. But it's really that being overly attached to who we think other people need to be and how we think they need to act in order for us to be happy.
Yes, that's it. Happiness is not relying on other, it's ours to find it. We are the ones who are meant to make ourselves happy, Mm-hmm. It's all about this inner balance. And I will never say this thing enough. The ancient ones on earth gave us a key that is the key for everything. Happiness, knowledge, everything. Know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Notice afton. It's carved in stone in Greece on a temple. Know yourself, and that's the key for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we know who we really are, there's nothing and no one can sway that. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world around us, because we're so at peace with who we know ourselves to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a great discovery. It's a great adventure. I always recommend people to meditate, shut down the disturbance, the noise, the fear, everything. You don't need that. It's just entertainment. What's important is to go within and see who's inside this body. Knock, knock, who's there? Who's
Right.
there? Oh my God. Oh, wow. And there's always a moment of wow, because who's in there inside these bodies? Beautiful light beings, And something I always say to people as well, nobody is dumb. Nobody is stupid. It's just people who have been made, hidden the knowledge, people unaware. You're not stupid, you're unaware. And we are all extremely intelligent beings, so intelligent. We can connect to the whole universe and access to the whole knowledge of the universe. And we've had so many lifetimes learning and discovering so many amazing things on different worlds. We are these persons, So nobody's stupid. The dark ones try to make us believe we are. That's an illusion.
Right.
There's so much intelligence. We need to realize that too.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And there are a lot of people out there who are running around saying that other people are stupid because they don't know what I know. That judgment doesn't help anyone. Every single one of us we're all divine beings having a human experience. And when we remember that's who we are, the entire universe opens itself up to us. Extraordinary.
I know. I working in Egypt, I was in contact often with simple people who have no education, haven't been to school, they don't know how to read and write, they know nothing about, anything. But when you speak with these people, they're calm and they have a wisdom. Oh my God. They say simple words and it just changes your life. You go, wow. Why? Because they are in connection with who they are, with nature, with the cycles of nature and the earth and themselves and the simple life they live. It's a life connected to the universe. That's where the wisdom comes. You don't need to learn through books yeah.
Right. I love that because it's the difference between wisdom. So we have wisdom and we have intelligence, and then we just have knowledge, which is different. Just because you know facts that you learned in school doesn't equate to intelligence, and it doesn't equate to wisdom, and it doesn't equate to true knowledge. It's just stuff that's been put in your head.
Yes. You can learn by heart, text, and that won't make you, more intelligent. It will make you knowing more stuff, but not more intelligent.
Right. And the education systems don't bother to measure other intelligence, as they only measure educational intelligence, when there's so many other intelligence that are just not even being acknowledged. And so maybe it's time for us to move forward into the conversation about
yes.
Okay. So you communicate with the Pleiadians. That's your primary source of communication?
Yes, what in fact the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Pleiadians have a big part in it. They have high functions in it, but it's many other people. I communicate with one guy who's a Pleiadian and one other guy who is an Eggaroth from a star system in Orion. So these two people. I've been communicating with others, but at the moment these two people.
Okay. I've never heard of the other
Eggaroth. Eggaroth. Orion is a big constellation. There's so many star systems in it. It's the heart of the gray hive, the evil grays. They are there as well in one of the nebulas. But there are many other star systems who have managed to shift in a higher frequency, the whole system, and then they are out of reach from the grays. And among them is the Eggaroth. They are tall beings. They are humans who look like like grays a bit, but a human genome, and they are brown skin and big indigo or clear blue eyes. They are very beautiful beings. Agaroth, yes, and that's one of them. I've actually this person Anax. I have actually his genetics in me, and I call him my star father. You know, he is part. So let's talk about Anax. He's part of the Council of Five, which is a very positive structure in the Orion Zone, although it's led by cultures from other places in the galaxy, but it's based in Orion. They are here to protect cultures who are in danger of being attacked by the Greys. So they are here, there, and for that, but also they decide to help all the rest of the galaxy as much as they can to help some cultures who are in danger, threatened by the Greys, the Orion Greys, to help these more primitive cultures to shift in frequency, to evolve, to get out of range, out of reach from these Greys who do abduction, etc. So they are working with Earth like this. They are not part of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, but they work together. So the Council of Five, so what they do practically, they are going to pick bloodlines with a certain blood type. Each blood type has DNA properties, you know. So some blood types will have more abilities to be enhanced, to develop psychic abilities, and to raise the genome in frequency. I don't know in the details how that works. That's all I know. So I am the bloodline I borrow for this incarnation is one of them. So, and Anax has put his DNA inside of. Actually, it was my grandmother. Then I have Agaroth also DNA, so I can have all the psychic abilities and Agaroth would have. That's interesting. Why they do that? Why they do that? You know, it's because at one stage now, all these people whose bloodline have been enhanced and boosted genetically are finally ready and able to receive starseeds, envoys, souls. Because all these envoys, they don't say starseeds upstairs, they say envoys. There's the envoy program. They are all of higher frequencies. And so if you are in a soul from a higher frequency, you know, and you incarnate in a world, in a body that is a lower frequency, both will suffer. The body may be sick because not able to withstand the power of, you know, this soul, alien soul. And the soul will be constricted and like suffering as well. So they need to prepare the people, generation after generation, that at one moment precise in time, a kid is born with genetically modified enough that an alien soul can just be in it. And,
Okay.
you know, that's what they do. That's what they've been doing. So I correspond with Anax, this being, who's part of, is actually one of the counselors in the Council of Five. And there's a lot of wisdom I gained from him. It's amazing. He's filled with love. He radiates love. When he speaks a little bit like Yoda in the Star Wars. You know, it's kind of behavior. And he's tall, very tall. Doesn't look like him at all. I mean, he's filled with wisdom and love. And if there's something I feel when he connects with me, first it's love. I mean, boundless love. It's like love is the energy of love is it's encompassing the whole universe. It's not contained to his body. It's just embodying, you know, these beings, not only him, of course, but these beings, they are tuned in the vibration of love of the universe. And that is like, wow.
Yeah. Well, and you said that the key word there is love as energy. And a lot of humans have it have misconstrued love to be nothing more than emotion. But when you've ever been in that vibration of love as energy, it's completely different than emotional love. It is, yeah. It's almost beyond words to even explain what that feels like.
It's very difficult to explain. The best is to share it and just be it, embody it, and radiate it, and people will understand by feeling it. Because it's difficult to explain by words. Our earth languages are very limited in expression. It's very limited. The way most of these advanced races speak is not only by language, it's by emotion, by holographic telepathic impulses. They're going to talk to you, and while they talk to you, you're going to feel emotions, and you are going to see 3D pictures in your head that illustrates what they're telling you. And there's so much more messages in these holographic things that come into your head, like codes, and sometimes after, for some of them, when they're very high, so after you finish the conversation, maybe hours later or the following day, it's going to decode, and you're going to it's going to open, and you're going to have so much more information. That's fascinating.
Yeah, and I've experienced that. As you said, a couple of hours later, we go, oh, I get it. Yeah, I understand why I was, because like you, I get, I guess visions, I guess is a good word for it, but visuals, and I can see the picture, and I hear the words that go with the picture, but it's hard to explain when I'm online and I'm trying to explain what it is I'm seeing as I'm hearing something, because there are always visuals that go with the words.
Yes.
And sometimes it's hard to explain to the audience, okay, this is what I'm hearing and this is what I'm seeing. And then also that, like you said, the feeling that goes with it at the same time. That's a little hard to explain to an audience.
Yes.
Like watching a movie and feeling it at the same time. So you're seeing the visuals, you're hearing the words, and you're feeling the emotions that go with it.
That's it. It's disturbing. It's unsettling the first time, but then you get used to it, because that's where we're going. That's how we should speak, how we are meant to speak. We're all shut down, but we have this ability to speak like this, and we will in the future, soon. I met beings. For instance, the closest to us, I met some human alien beings who were speaking to me vocally, normally. Well, as we would say normally, but in the same time, I would hear their voice in my head, like an echo. So it takes time to, whoa, And then on the other extreme, the farther I have been into the experience is with advanced beings from the Intergalactic Confederation who arrived in our star system in October. They are parked near Ganymede. I've been taken on board one of their ships. The way they speak, they don't talk. They can talk. A lady has been talking to me verbally at one occasion, but their normal way of communicating is by brain frequencies. So they're facing you, and you hear, like the dolphins or the whales, these sounds, frequency, like if a dolphin was talking to you. But it's not screechy. It's like, it's soft and it's agreeable. It's nice, relaxing. And you realize that with the modulation of these frequencies you hear in your ears, it's in fact the sound aspect of what they send you, which is holographic codes. It's like ideograms, packets of information that they send you. It's like, the Aztec alphabet. It's like squares, and each square contains a story. And that's the same thing, but holographically.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and you receive these packs of information in content, and time is dilated. So you receive information, and maybe one pack will contain a story, but it takes you a fraction of a second to decrypt it and to read the experience is like maybe an hour watching the story, but in fact only a fraction of a second has gone in time, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. Fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when you talk about being taken on board a ship, is this not your physical body, it's your astral body?
Physical.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I've been taken on board ships since I was a kid. Well, after my rescue, they kept on taking me on board the ship, but regularly, not very frequently. Maybe it was maybe every 2 years, this frequency in time. Yes, physically, being beamed, like teleported. So they've been taking me a few times recently physically, and sometimes they are beaming my astral body and out of my physical body on a ship, and they are redensifying. They have encoded the process, the transfer, that when I beam there, I could stay as light being, but it's not fun. So for me to have a physical experience and interaction with them, they redensify my body. There's a program they've entered in the process that I look like this. And I am like a double of myself. It's the particles of my light being are just rearranged. It's temporary. It's temporary. The longest I've stayed in this state is 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. I think 3 hours. Yes, not more. So I'm there, and I'm a copy of myself. It's contained in a force field. It's contained in a force field. When I go physically, I need to adjust to the frequency where I'm going, because it's higher frequencies. So they clip on me a frequency belt that this body is able to withstand the higher frequencies and have also a physical experience with them. It's automatic clipped on me. But when it's the astral body beamed and redensified, it's redensified in the density I'm going. So I don't need a frequency belt.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, because your frequency, your astral body, doesn't need as much adjustment as the physical body. Yeah.
No.
Pure energies. No. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So what are the messages that you're getting right now about what's happening, because you are so connected to the galactic forces? And what are they saying about what's happening on the Earth field right now? Yeah, I know off camera we talked about how we both got the same message. I think it might have been about October, when the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and everybody, like the whole crew, came in. When I don't normally communicate with them, but they were so excited that they had finally won the battle for the galaxy. And now they were here. They're like, okay, now it's time to clean up planet Earth. We've cleaned up the galaxy, so their now focus is here. What are you seeing about what's happening on the planet right now, and then what's going to happen in 2022? I know is going to be a really, really big year for our planet. So what is it that you're seeing?
Well, in October 2021, as you got also the message from your side, the war against the regressive aliens has been won. I mean, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Andromedan Council, and everyone, Council of Five, they all together managed to get us rid of the reptilians, the Sicars, and the Nebu Greys physically. And from Mars as well, Ceres, from the moon, from the whole star system. Wow. Everywhere. And they're gone. It was a big victory. Now, what's happening is it's in our hands on Earth to finish the job. There has been a lot of psyops going on in infiltrating New Age movement, saying, wait to be saved. Right. No, that's taking the power away from people. Yeah. you're not going to be saved. You're the only one to save yourself. Okay. What does it mean? Okay. The Galactic Federation of Worlds has been taken care of anything we couldn't take care of ourselves because we didn't have the technology for it.
Right.
They've done it. They've taken care of the alien problem. Now we need, it's our challenge. It's our dark night of the soul. It's now the moment when we need to grow up, face our problems. Humans deal with humans. Extraterrestrials deal with extraterrestrials. We need now, the message they gave and they pass on to humanity is, now it is time you stand up for yourself in your sovereignty and you stop consenting to be manipulated. The dark humans who are in power, it is your task to bring them down by one thing, standing in your sovereignty and learning how to say no to manipulation, no to obedience. Stop being on your knees, stand up, and for your rights, you know. And that's the message they give to us. Stop listening to people who tell you what to save, or there's a cosmic event that is going to do all the job for you, you know. No, it's an individual process for everyone. Stand up for yourself, for your children, for what you think is right. That's all you have to do. If we all do this, that's it.
Yeah.
Over. Game over for the baddies, you know. So that's the main message.
So I've been getting the same message from the Guardians who are saying the same thing, that, and we've been talking about this for years. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And the message that's been so clear the last couple of months is, we are the ones we've been waiting for. And it was written into our religiosities to wait for Jesus as a savior to come and rescue us. It was written in there for a reason, to keep us from finding it inside of ourselves.
Yes.
And people who are waiting for a president to rescue them, or the E.T.s to rescue them. And the message has been clear over and over and over again. We have got to stop waiting for someone else to rescue us. We made the mess. We got to clean up the mess we made.
Yes, that's another point. I think it was in October as well. In October 2021, I had a contact with something that is called the Nine Collective. These are beings, they are plasmic supra-consciousnesses who live in a void between the universes. And I had this contact, and they told me this thing, that there was a matrix. So they said there was a matrix that was holding everyone under an illusion of lower density illusion. And this been switched off. I knew that since February 2021, the device on the moon had been deactivated, the one on Saturn as well. The matrix was dismantled. But this matrix, what was it? It was certain specific frequencies broadcasted at the planet Earth, and also imbricated in a layer of artificial intelligence that is called the black goo. And this is an etherical substance. It's like a matrix that used to feed, so it's feeding bad entities, negative entities, or artificial intelligence. When I say negative, I don't like this word. I'd say lower frequency entities who have, resentment, sexual appetite, or vampire types. So all these entities of the lower astrals and demons and stuff, and ET, artificial intelligence, were just stuck in there, like feeding off it. And people were wanting to connect to their guides or to anything. Everyone wanted to channel. The first thing they were connected, if they weren't, trained enough, was this thing. But talking about pretending to be Jesus, or, things like that. Or, the Ashtar thing, that was a big one. Anyway, people were fooled and used. So these entities were feeding off people. The Nine showed me that. This visual of this dark cloud, and people connected to it and feeding off it, and they were feeding off them. the thing is, this thing has been disconnected and it's dying out. It's just dissolving. The only danger is that we as humans maintain it alive by keeping on feeding it, feeding the illusions that there are entities, Lord this or Lord that are going to save us, or just, it's like it becomes addictive. It's like a drug. Cut it. Just cut it. Just yourself, your higher self. I mean, go inside and discover who's there. You don't need that. If you stop, cut the cord, and it was like dissolve forever and always. That's a very important message as well.
Yeah, and just to confirm that, what I was shown is that I've been calling it tar, this black tar.
Yes, it looks
like
that.
A lot of light workers have been stuck in it. Well, really, in 2012, the 3D and the 4D converged. They were coexisting. And that lower 4D is that tar that you're talking about. And I could see light workers just like trudging through this tar and not being able to rise up into a higher vibration. They were stuck in that goo that you call it. And then what I started to see was that once we pull our consciousness out of that goo, then it just becomes like this thin, wispy cloud. It basically just melts into nothing once we raise our vibration up above that. And then also what I was shown, to confirm what you were saying, I was shown a couple of months ago that 3D has flatlined. It's just basically that it's died. And so now what remains is navigating 4D and getting into 5. And not enough people are talking about what navigating 4D looks like. And the lower 4D is very dark.
Yes, 4D is a transitionary.
Yeah. Got to work through it. And otherwise you get stuck in that dark goo and waiting for somebody else to rescue us. And the way that we get rescued is by lifting each other up.
Yes. There's an E.T. I've been in contact with, Valthor. He told me we cannot liberate a slave who holds on to his chains. That was very meaningful. Yeah.
Well, the hard part is a lot of people don't even know they're enslaved. Yeah. And so part of it is one, the rest of this great awakening that started a few years ago, the rest of that, my understanding is going to happen in 2022. That after 2022, human beings will be able to make conscious choice. Or right now, most of humanity is making unconscious fear voice choices because the information has been restricted. So every person will be given all of the information and can then make conscious choice. That's when slaves realize, oh my gosh, I've been living for centuries and centuries and centuries in this enslavement matrix. The enslavement is going to be showing itself. Now we're only enslaved as long as we choose to be. Once we recognize, oh, that's what's been going on, I choose to no longer be a slave, then that's choice. So people will be given conscious choice. And yet there are people who will still choose to stay in their chains because that's where they're comfortable. The difference is that they will actually consciously choose that rather than unconsciously, which is where most of humanity is right now.
Yes, these people who choose who choose consciously to remain in these chains or to take some decisions. It's their path. And I always say we need to respect their decision because, the universe is the greater law. It's free will. Free will is evolution. We need to decide for ourselves for anything. So we need to respect as well that, okay, we can try to explain to them why we think differently. Maybe it will trigger something. But if it doesn't, let us respect them because we love them and respect their decision. And yeah, it can be two things. You were mentioning that they are not brave enough in a way to make the step. But sometimes I think also we all choosing a certain experience before incarnating. And maybe that is part of it, Well, and then what? You decide to take a certain decision for your body, or then these incarnations are temporary. You're going to leave it at one stage and you'll come back, So it's just any decision you take, it's temporary. It's just learning process. It's just part of your apprenticeship of how to be a human.
Right. And I think it's where a lot of people get, because they want other people, but it's because we love them. We want other people that we love to make a choice that agrees with the choice that we've made. But ultimately, every soul is having its own experience. We don't know what another person's path is. And it's not up to us to decide what another person's path needs to be. And that's what I think is really difficult for people, is because, as I was saying in the beginning, that suffering is in our attachments to how we think other people's paths need to be. And especially those of us who are parents, the hardest part is allowing our children to have their own path.
Yes.
And supporting them in their choices, no matter what, loving them regardless of the choices that they make. That's one of the most difficult things. But then, in the case of my kids, their higher selves told me they don't belong to you. They have their own path, and they will choose the path that their souls want them to choose. It's up to you to be the best guide you can be, and let go of what you think their paths need to be. And I think that's really difficult for people, is to understand that our children don't belong to us. Our family, we talk about my husband, my kids, right? And they're really not ours. And we need to let go of the belief that we have any ownership of anybody else. That this is actually what's coming in right now. When we claim someone else to be mine, we're actually, in a sense, holding them captive.
Yes.
And that in itself goes against their free will. I've never had that insight before.
Yeah. It's doing nothing, watching your kid playing with matches, knowing that they are going to burn themselves, and they need to burn themselves to learn that fire burns, or they need to fall on the ground and hurt their knee and bleed to know that you don't run like that.
Right.
Things like that. They're going to hurt themselves, but you do nothing, and you allow them to hurt themselves for them to learn because you love them. That's very hard. Yeah. And that's what they do upstairs.
Right.
All these good beings. It's the same. They're watching us stumble, and they do nothing in some cases for us to learn a lesson and grow up from it and learn from it. Sometimes people say, why the good ETs, if they are there, why they don't why don't
they interfere?
Yeah. Because we need to go through this to learn something. And it's painful for them to watch us suffer, but that's because they love us.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and they can't interfere because of free will choice. They really can't. So,
and talking about choosing a certain path to learn something, but also to be useful to others.
Mm-hmm.
Something interesting there, because I understood that I wanted to experience something very particular here, to be able to understand this thing and help others to go through it. Abuse. Mm-hmm. I chose to marry to a man who abused me, who was a narcissistic sociopath, the typical thing. And I went through hell. No one could take me out of this relationship but myself. Mm-hmm. My family was trying to take me away. I would go back. And until the day I was wounded so badly that it clicked, and I decided to go out of it myself. Knowing this, now I am helping people, so many people, to go through this kind of abuse, but at a global level. Mm-hmm. The abusers are some governments we are married with. Mm-hmm. And all we need to do is to divorce. No one can take us away and tell us, oh, these people are bad, they're abusing you, you should not obey them anymore. No,
Mhm.
nobody can do that. We will go back to them, obey them, until one day we are hit enough that we wake up
Mhm.
and we walk away. But we need to go through it. We need to experience it. And I understood that because I went myself at an individual level throughout an abusive marriage. That was a revelation, you know? That's something I wanted to bring out.
I love that. I love that because I'm hearing these words, how sometimes in an abusive relationship, family will try to do an intervention.
Yeah.
But if the person who's being abused isn't ready yet, the intervention won't work. They will go back to their abuser. So as a collective of humanity, we need to get to the point where we're tired of being abused by our abusers. No amount of intervention from, Jesus returning or the E.T.s intervening or divine, well, we're actually the divine intervention we seek, but people are wanting somebody else to come and rescue us. And it's not going to work until we get tired enough of being abused that we finally stand up to the abuser and say, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yes.
We're not going to do this anymore. No amount of intervention is going to work if we're not ready.
Yes, we need to learn how to say no.
Yeah.
First word a child learns to say it's no, That's why the good E.T.s I'm in contact with will not remove all the corrupted governments, presidents, or whatever, they won't do it because we need to suffer enough to wake up. It's hard, and it's hard for them to see us, but they all they're waiting for us is to wake up and walk away from the abuse.
Right. And that's exactly what I've been saying. They'll help us clean up the mess. So it's like, for example, okay, I love this analogy. This is such a great analogy you've brought up, right? The abusive marriage, because I've been saying that we are in a codependent relationship right now. I've been saying that for the last, because I had to recognize that I was in a codependent relationship with my husband before I finally went, oh, I'm done with this. It wasn't an abusive relationship, but it was very codependent. And once I realized that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? That's when I went, oh, okay, the relationship's done. This is obviously not going to work. We need to get to that point with the systems of controls that presently exist, to where we finally realize, oh, we've been doing this over and over again and nothing has ever changed. So in order for the situation to change, we need to accept that the change is actually us. I could never expect the relationship to change until I chose for myself to change what I was doing. So it's about that. But also what my guides and guardians have been saying is that they'll help us clean up the mess. So what I was seeing is we divorce ourselves from our governments, right? From the systems. And then what happens after the divorce is we got to clean stuff. So like after my husband left, I had to take all of his stuff and put it out. Not mean, but I put it out. It's his stuff. So that's what I'm seeing is once we divorce ourselves, they'll come and help us clean up and say, okay, this is your stuff, that's their stuff, and separate it and clean it up. But they're not going to do the work for us. They're not going to divorce us from our systems. We have to do that.
Exactly. That's it.
We have to have the courage to do that ourselves. We have to stop waiting for somebody else to come in and tell our spouse for us, oh, by the way, your wife doesn't love you anymore and she's leaving you. It doesn't work that way. We have to have the courage to do it ourselves.
Yes, we will go forward only like this, only if we do that. When you don't want to learn a lesson, you walk away, it comes back to you.
Right.
If the good ETs would save us now, remove all the corruption, remove all the, dark cults and stuff. If they do that, they can, like this.
Yeah.
In 1 hour, it's done.
Right.
Well, we will not have learned anything.
We would
Any
have learned the lesson and we'll repeat it again.
It's about our own evolution. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it is about.
Yeah. And if we don't learn the lesson, we're destined to repeat it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, what an amazing conversation you and I've had. I hope that the audience really grasped this, because I've been preaching to the choir. I've been preaching this for the last 6 months. I don't like preaching, but I really want people to understand. It's so important for people to understand that we are our own saviors, and that when we work together in unity, this is how we free ourselves from the systems. We have to stop seeing each other as the enemy, and that all of those labels were created to divide us and conquer us. We have to stop seeing each other as the enemy. We have to come together with everybody we have seen as the enemy, and divorce ourselves from our narcissistic systems.
Yes. And a good lesson I've learned, it's all about perspective.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people at the moment, they think all these corrupted governments and politicians, we want them like French Revolution, like carnage and head cuts and like blood everywhere, because just to exorcise the anger. Okay, is that really evolved reaction? When I learned how the Galactic Federation of Worlds treat their prisoners, it was a complete different perspective. They take them to prison planets. It's planets where they can't escape, but it's like spiritual camps. Mm-hmm. They will stay there forever if they want, until they die. But they have the choice to liberate themselves if they decide to evolve, to heal, to follow a spiritual practice that will help them to heal their angers, their wounds, and modify their frequency, shift, elevate their frequency. And they cannot lie. They cannot pretend they've done the job, because, you can measure the frequency, If they decide to heal themselves and to progress in consciousness, they're sent back home and they will teach others. Mm-hmm. If they don't want to take this path and stay with their suffering, they stay there and they stop harming other people, Oh my God. That's amazing. Instead of revenging on being even more horrible than the murderer, or the person, instead of becoming like him and doing horrible things to him by revenge, why don't we wish and help this person to heal and change and evolve spiritually?
Absolutely.
Don't wish them bad, wish them enlightenment.
We wish them well, right?
Well,
right. We wish them well. I say that all the time, and that people who are here who wish revenge on the people who have done bad things, for lack of a better word, they are not helping. Their judgment, their anger, their wishing harm is actually feeding the dark energy itself. We have to stop wanting vengeance and justice and all these, these beliefs that somehow if those people who are harming humanity deserve to be harmed, we're actually keeping that lower vibration. And the same thing, what I've been shown is that they'll be sent to rehabilitation planets. They're actually not prison planets, they're rehabilitation. And most souls can be rehabilitated.
That's the right word, rehabilitation planets. Absolutely. Yes. Very good. Yeah.
Not prison planets, or most beings can be rehabbed because as you were saying earlier, people act the way they do because it's their own suffering being projected outward. So if they go through really rehabilitation, they can actually be rehabilitated because their wounding becomes healed.
Yes. That's it. That's it. When you have a psychopath and you just ostracize him because him or her because this person has done bad things that are not excusable, but forgivable.
Right.
But then you will create more and more anger in this person, and this person will keep on doing bad things because nobody loves me, they all hate me, so I'm going to be more mean. I'm going to just want to kill them all because they hate me, so I hate them, blah, 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 blah. But if we say it's okay, we've all done mistakes. May I help you heal? What's your problem? I can help you. Let's talk about it. Wow.
Well, and here's what people don't understand, that ultimately everything is forgivable. But it's our own judgments that don't understand why people do the things they do. But there's a misunderstanding of what forgiveness is, for starters. Forgiveness doesn't mean to let it go and pretend it never happened and let people off the hook.
No.
So when people understand what forgiveness really is, everything is forgivable, because it's really about what it is that's within that being that's causing their own suffering. But it has to be them wanting to do that work for themselves.
Always the same thing.
It's a misunderstanding of, oh, I forgive you, I let you off the hook. That's not what that means. It's the energetic frequency of forgiveness, which is actually understanding.
Yes, compassion.
Yeah, it's compassion and understanding. So, which is actually a higher frequency than forgiveness. But so everything is forgivable if you actually can grasp that it's about compassion and understanding.
Yes. Always a question of perspective. Go higher than your pains. Go higher than your traumas. Higher than your judgment. Higher.
Right.
That's.
Well, and that's why these beings who are being taken to rehabilitation, so those who are removing the beings who have caused the greatest amount of harm on our planet, if you will, and being taken to these rehabilitation planets, it's being done through understanding and compassion, not through judgment, and not through the desire for vengeance.
No, vengeance is animal primitive instinct. I mean, someone kill my child, I'm going to want to decapitate this person. That's natural reaction.
Right.
But then this will it you will feel better afterwards in a way, but it won't sort out the problem, karmically, from a higher perspective. Because you will have decapitated someone. My God, you will have lower yourself down to a lower frequency to do such a horror by vengeance. Anger, it's low frequency. So we can, things may happen differently when we stand from higher perspective of consciousness. It's not easy.
It's not always easy, but that needs to be our personal pursuit, is to always go higher, go higher, go higher. And try to see everything through the eyes of unconditional love, which is the love of source, which is unconditional. And that, get the vengeance out of our heart, the desire for revenge. We've got to get that out of our heart. If we're going to create this new 5D heart-based, love-based reality, we have to pull ourselves out of those lower frequencies, because our own lower frequencies is what is causing it to take so long. That's what people don't grasp. Why is this taking so long? Well, the reason it's taking so long is because of our own crap is the reason it's taking so long.
It's taking so long because you're waiting for something. Yeah. So it's going to take forever.
Waiting for someone else. And it's here. It's us. Like if we want to change the world, it's our own frequency. It's our own resonance. It's our own beliefs that have to change it.
Yes. And we are doing it, and we are going to do it and complete the process. And we are doing it because I've been shown the future as it is from now. It's great. It's positive. It's oh my God, that's gonna be amazing. It's always amazing. In the present. Yeah. That means we're doing our job. So let's keep on doing.
Yeah. Well, and the more we do it, the faster it manifests. So.
Yes. Oh my God, I would chat with you hours. We
I
need to
know,
do that
and
again.
we have been on here for a long time. I actually had another call to go to, but I think they figured out I'm not going to be there. But it has been so amazing meeting you, and so amazing having this conversation. And we need to do this more.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and if it can help people, that's fantastic. So pleasure.
How do people reach you? What kind of work, now that we've done all this, what kind of work do you do? How are you being of service to the planet?
I'm doing a lot of free videos of spiritual guidance and meditations on my YouTube channel, Elena Danaan, my name. So check out. I have a lot of free workshops, how to protect yourself, things like that. And then I have a website, elenadanaan.org, O-R-G. So there, it's like I make a living with that. I have books, artwork, merchandise, and also shamanic workshops. These are, you need to pay for it because it's, shamanic, it's more serious, it can be dangerous, so you need to engage yourself. And it's always also an income for me. So that's my work, my website for my income and to support me. And otherwise, everything on my YouTube channel is free. That's it.
Wonderful. I love that model. I use that same model as well. We give as much as we can give, and yet we also have an income stream. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been truly, truly delightful.
It was, and we'll do it again. And it's total pleasure meeting you, connecting with you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
And for all of you who are watching today, thank you for being here and for being the light that you are. As I always say, remember to hold your light so high others can't help but see their own light. Together, we are creating a world of peace, love, harmony, and prosperity and freedom for all life on Earth. And as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free.